welcome to a Crazyhouse Worldchampionship match between the Finnisher and mastertan. It's been a while since I've been able to stream. I've been brushing up on social life and work, but here we go. We have a nice match in front of us. Still early stages of the Crazyhouse Worldchampionship. I believe this is the round 2 game. As per usual, I'm on a slight delay, so when commentating, so might be a bit slowish to respond to your suggestions and other stuff. But aside from that, don't hesitate to ask something or whatever. And we'll have the Finnisher starting with white, and there are just a couple of games between them, not that many. But the Finnisher probably well prepared for this, and we'll see how he takes on mastertan. And mastertan, on the other hand, playing a bit more Crazyhouse lately, got into the Candidates and lost his first match 4-6 versus Mugwort, and well, that's not a bad start. I don't think he has any dreams of getting to first this tournament, but he will hopefully make it tough for some people, and the Finnisher could be amongst them. We'll see if mastertan decides to go for any theoretical lines or keeps it a bit sidelines. For now, he's chosen to play knight c6 d5 variation, and the Finnisher not responding within a second, so or he's trying to remember what to play, or he's out of book. But usually these positions play nicely for white. You just have control of the center, but this setup is not so bad for black either, but yeah, d5 seems principled. You want to prevent e6 and bishop e4, bishop c5. Let's say if you played bishop e2, e6, castles, bishop b5 is fine, but d5 is already troubling. You could try, in chess you would play knight e5 maybe. Even in chess it might be bad, but now you just take, pawn d7, and looks really good. So knight of 6. You could play pawn at e6 first, then take, if you want to be fancy. That keeps the bishop locked in for a while. But yeah, takes probably perfectly fine. And then maybe knight at e5. Looking good so far, first game for the Finnisher. Yeah, knight d5 looks really good. There isn't even any bishop takes f3 since you have pawn d7, king d8, knight takes f7, checkmate, or knight takes d7, queen takes d7, checkmate. Maybe he's worried about, he's thinking he might get defensive, but then still ideas of knight takes f7. or just trade here and use the fact that this black king is really weak on e8. Meneer Koning, hello. So pawn at d7 probably takes and takes. This might be okay-ish for black, but there must be something else. Pawn at d6 takes, queen at f7, king d8, knight takes c6, and the attack continues. The bishop can come to a6 at some stage. Funny line here, bishop h5 trying to defend f7, then queen at d7 wins the game, because you have to take, then you take with the pawn. Queen at d7 is now a threat, basically. Knight takes, e takes, king d8, knight at b7, checkmate. So how to deal with that? I think maybe you can play queen at d4 or something. Yeah, queen at d6 I thought as well, but now just takes, queen at d8. Knight takes, promote the queen, new pawn here, king d8, and then knight you have a knight on f6, you can place it on b7, the king has to run here, you can take the queen with check. Finisher will see queen at d8 for sure. Probably he will just calculate it all the way through, but queen at d8 is just winning by force. Made in 7 or 8 or something. He's not playing queen at d8. Wow. Okay, probably he's still better, but queen at d8, knight takes, pawn at f7, king d8, knight at b7, king c8 is forced, take the queen, queen at d7, wins the game. With knight takes c6 mate, but okay. Still possible, but he didn't spot it last move, so probably he won't see it now. And his time is running low a bit, so maybe mastertan can try to take over. That's a free knight, yeah. And rook c8, sort of safe. Ooh, now there's even ideas of sacking the queen here. Probably not now, but well, there might be some tricks with pawn at f3. But rook c8 should be okay. Yeah, that's the safe choice. Finisher low on time. You can think about stuff like sacking now, or just keeping the attack like he does. Now to continue, bishop at b6, takes, king d7 might be an option. I wanted bishop at b6 to look at f2, but he just wants a knight for knight at f3. But now promote to knight, king e6 I guess is safe. Because where are you gonna drop? Yeah, he's dropping for safety here. And saying, okay, I'm safe now, and I'm threatening knight at d8 and f4. So rook at d6 defense against knight at d8, but not against knight at g5, f4 mate. Okay, so finisher missed mates, but in the end he takes the game anyway. Alright, so e4, e5 game. Next one. Let's see which line the finisher chooses. He's going for bishop e7 and d6. Basically the choice you have here is to play bishop here or bishop c5. And mastertan just going for the old line d3 and knight g5. But the finisher knows this. You will see quick moves from him. There's a slight change in the position. Normally castles and d6 have been played, so maybe that's a bit off-putting. So therefore h4 is something to think about. Here castles d6 would have just transposed to a lot of lines that are played frequently. But now h4, h5, maybe h6 even, but also h5, and looking at g6, trying to exploit the f7 weakness. So c6, the finisher wants to play d5 and block out this bishop. So h5, d5, I guess, is the plan. So takes. I think if you play bishop e3, then black's just fine. Black probably is fine anyway, so mastertan trying to stir up troubles with knight takes h7. If you take with the knight, the d5 is again open. If you take with the king, there might be pawn at g6, king back, and pawn at h6 ideas. Very sharp play again by mastertan. Probably spotting that, as in last game, the finisher missed a chance out of the opening, and then mastertan just has to play really sharp to get the finisher's clock down, and hope for chances there. I don't think he's going to win the opening battle. So far so good, his strategy, but he just failed to find the best moves. h6. Are these people better than me? Yeah, arguably yes. The finisher is better than me, I think. mastertan, I don't know. He used to be, but last Candidates 2 years ago I beat him 7-3 or 6-4, I don't remember. Don't know if overall scores, yeah, it's in his favor. But nowadays I might be equal to him, and also the finisher I can beat him, but he beats me more of the time, even nowadays. Okay, so blocking off the h5, if you take knight at h3 is a problem. But taking here, black king looks dangerous. Taking here, king takes d7, pawn at g5 for example, would be strong. Bishop takes d5, I guess he wants to trade a knight and then he can use the knight for h5. Still rewatching Bugzilla match with me, it was so exciting. Yeah. I watched a couple of moments from the stream as well. It was a really tough match. And nice to have two commentators there as well. Felt honored. Okay, so knight takes d5, and the finisher not afraid here, picking up the gauntlet, but What are you gonna do? Queen h5. Ah, that's nice. That's really nice. Queen h5. Fumitak's happy with that one as well. Mr. Queen h5. Just knight takes c2, just king d1 or king d2 even. I think king d2 is perfectly fine. Knight c2, king d2, bishop g5. So knight c2, king f1, takes. So knight takes c2, okay. Not so easy. Maybe the way to go is king e2. No, then just knight d4. So king d1, bishop at g4. Okay, so queen h5 looked more scary than it was, because the king has no good square to go to. I think you have to go king d2 and allow bishop at g5. Yeah, this takes. Knight at f4 picks up the queen. But okay, hg. There's still some attacking chances here. If you can take this knight with check somehow. Or just take it and say, where's your attack? Queen at g3, I'm going to play knight at h5. But yeah, finisher is just safer, I feel, and he's just making sure everything is covered. Rook takes f2, probably on his mind. Or just taking this, but now... Ah, he takes h6, okay. And now you can take the knights, if you're not mated. No, you're not mated, and then knight at h3 is just game over. Just take everything, and black wins. He's going back, not allowing rook at g3, just forcing the resignation. Rook at g3 wasn't winning for white anyway, but it defended a couple of more moves. Alright, knight e4. f3 here. I've played a couple of times. The bishop b5 already played. I played this with the finisher, but here he can just take. And now bishop b5. The finisher, at least he looked at these types of positions. I remember playing him in the team league. Just a little bit different, but also with this knight coming to e4, and not a lot of players are playing f3 there because they're scared for a lot of stuff. But it's possible to get away with f3. But you need to know what you're doing. So queen h4. He's going to play pawn of knight at f2. And then pawn at g3, I think, is a game between me and the finisher. Yeah, bishop d7. Now the knight might be free. But bishop g5 just wins the queen here. So you had to play something pawn at g3. Bishop d7 is no good. Yeah, looking not so good for mastertan. It just lost game pretty poorly, and this one I feel as well is not going his way. First game he had some chances, but it's also because the finisher lost forcing mate sequence with the well, maybe not so easy, but with a queen sacrifice he will no longer miss after this match. So yeah, mastertan not so good out the starting blocks. Guess bishop e7 and sack the queen is what you should play here. And now you gotta watch out for e3. Maybe queen at f4 might be the finisher move. I don't know. I probably would play queen at f4. Okay, queen at g4. Same idea. And now also looking at g7. And now he just needs to make his material gain count. You could just develop here, I guess. mastertan has this e3 idea, so maybe you would like to play bishop at e3, or at some stage to block this one. But even castles. But as long as the finisher is not quickly winning this, mastertan might get some chances. But for now, bishop at g5, just picking up this one is a plan. d5 sacking is a plan. Okay, now the queen is going to f4. Try knight at d5 maybe. But he's deciding just to cover the pawn. Yeah, I've played some Crazyhouse blindfold, but to respond to your question, but I will be streaming less in the coming weeks than I did after in the last couple of months, because university is starting again, so that will be my main focus, as well as jobs. So yeah, therefore Crazyhouse blindfold not that high on my list. But it's I can believe it's a great exercise for the mind. So hats off to Mugwords playing that. And also some crazy or some Bughouse blindfold, as I saw that being played. It's just crazy that you can remember everything and picture it and play good moves. Alright, so this is just going to go to the finisher. He's just putting pressure on d7. And even e7 now, he's just getting in. This is just waiting this game to be over. Knight here. And knight g5 and take. And then queen h6 maybe, to be fancy. Don't know if queen h6 works. Just knight is mate in one. Don't be too fancy. Alright, so 3-0 so far. Let's see if mastertan repeats. Now he goes bishop b5. Bishop c4 is more challenging, but this is probably his way of trying to get a game going where he's not worse out of the opening or not in Finisher's known territory. Objectively not worse, but just get a game where it's about equal and he has chances. Okay, so far it's just a normal what I don't know the Spanish line, but just a Spanish game. Could have been chess, this game. White keeping the bishop here. Now it's going to b3. And now maybe we will see the first non-chess move. Don't know why bishop d5. I guess you wanna make this knight look a bit silly there. But you're not going to play b4 here. So now black probably wants to trade and play bishop at h5. That's normally the plan here. And if you don't get in via f3 or stuff, you just push d5. Break up the center and say, okay, I have more defensive pieces around my king than you. So breaking open the center and offering queen trade is good for me, with all the drops coming next to the king. I think Karask has a video on that. Or together with Upper Ways, and they played me and Legion Destroyer for a bit. I don't have the link, but it's out there. Okay, so knight at h2, maybe trying to get g4 ideas in, and just covering as well. Trade, knight at d4 is not pleasant. h6. This is just designed to prevent bishop g5 and as well as a later pawn at h6. But I think the finisher will try to push d5 at a certain moment. Now, if d5, probably knight takes e5 is played. Bishop takes e2, knight at d4. Take here might be a line. Problem is that knight takes e5 also looks at c6. So black needs something concrete there. Okay, there we go. d5 played. Knight takes e5. And then the queen is sacrificable here. Bishop also looking at h3 might be an idea now. But mastertan just takes its get pawn trade, and now if knight takes e5, bishop here, knight at d4, there's a pawn coming to e2 as well. So pawn at g4 now, keeping this one at g2. Finisher obviously sacking, not going back. That would be would run into knight takes c5 and just a good position for whites. Bishop takes h6, trying to create counterplay, I guess. Why don't you take back immediately? I don't know. Maybe knight takes g4. don't know what's happening here with bishop h6 and bishop takes g7. Mastertan's position is just ruined now. Because the bishops are just so strong defending here. So yeah, knight at h6, just take, knight f5, king h7. There's just looks strong. Okay, so now knight h6 is something to be worried about, but Finnish is just going for pawn at f3. If you take the knight, pawn at g4 is probably checkmating. And here, let's find mates. e4 probably. If it takes knight e5. Okay, pawn g4, f4 or something. f4 en passant, so you have to block with the pawn, takes, run, block again. Okay, so it's just taking the bishop, claiming that he's completely safe, and white has to waste another tempo with king d2. It's funny, you know, somehow tactics threatening on attack on the queen seems limited. Yeah, it does, Scat Fox. Sorry for tripping over your sentence there. Don't get cheapoed with pawn at h7. Knight takes f2. What's your time? Okay, he's going rook at e1. But okay, Finisher not being clean here. Rook at d1 is a fine defensive move. Knight at g4 now next to get rid of this one maybe. And pawn at f2. Mastertan probably happy with the draw there. Knight at f6. Ooh. Insta recapture, not necessary, but knight at f6. Trade, king g7, rook here. King up. Probably safe for black. Ooh, but now can you get away with pawn d7? That's the question. Now you can take here and rook at c1, probably. Or this one and rook at c1. And Mastertan, what's your time? Ooh, he takes it on time. Rook at c1 probably was good. Mastertan taking it on time. Wasn't expecting that. Finisher played again a really strong attack. But Mastertan with his bishop h6 and bishop g7, which seemed a bit silly. But in the end it took the game for him, creating enough weirdness around the king for the finisher to waste time on. Yeah, so this is a tried system, but e5 is a principled move. to play against this system. Because Black's idea basically here is okay. I'll set up like this, and I'll when you have set up like this, I'll play e5 later on, and then I'll beat you there. But now he's sacrificed a piece for a pawn to get this one. Yeah, weirdness around the king's Katkorforax. Bishop h6, bishop g7 just felt wrong, but it creates some vague chances, maybe. And it's the way to. It's a bit sad to put it like that, but it's the way to go against the Finnish, because he's a strong player, but in time trouble he makes compared to other players, he makes more mistakes, and he's also known for flagging sometimes as well. The threat was queen h4, by the way, and knight g3, and then try to create an attack somehow. So Finisher tried f4, hoping for en passant and knight takes f3, I guess, but bishop d4, pawn e3, and just bishop back, knight takes g7 then. So now queen h4 comes, picking up the knights. Bishop b5 looks okay. You want to play something to prevent knight takes d4, basically. You could also try knight takes d5 or bishop takes f5 and d5 ideas. Knight b5 also possible. Okay, he goes for d5. Break open the center as soon as possible. Knight b4. Yeah, not take if takes e6, he will take back first, but his idea is to get rid of this bishop. And if black gets a couple of bishop, that will be really annoying. Bishop at g3 takes, bishop at h2, and take again on g3. That would be his plan with trading some bishops. Not taking like this, because bishop b5 probably is an annoying check. Covalent Potatoes, thanks for the follow. And hey Sadhal, 840. Yeah, it's first to 10 games. If you click on the link Sustin just created with his with the candidates commands, you will see the scoring and the pairings table and all sorts of information about the tournament structure. And this phase is just 10 games in each match, and game points count towards your total score. And who has the most game points in the end wins the candidates tournament and gets to play Operwezen for the title. Okay, so now mastertan has to be careful about queen takes d7. Don't know if it wins immediately, but it looks really strong. Probably you need another pawn to make it work. So you could try bishop e3. If he takes, just take back, because then queen takes d7 is a threat. and you're developing and you're bringing your rook into the game. So this is not this is not a bad move if you look at that, but probably bishop at c6 played or something like that. You could also just take it and go knight at c7, but he's going for another fork. That's knight at g7, picking up the queen. And also taking here, then knight at f6 opens up. Black can still castle, so he can run away if he wants. But he's just deciding to defend. Not a lot of material in hand. That's a nice one. Bishop at d6. Cross pinning. And he can just repeat this. But this is helpful for Finisher. Pawn at d5. Takes. Still be on the lookout for queen takes d7 ideas at some moments. Guess he's looking at g3. Yeah, there we go, g3. This picks up the pawn though. Ooh. This is too risky. Queen takes d7. Made in 1. Oh, made in 2, yeah. mastertan overplaying his hand there. Pawn at g3, I was looking at it as well, but rook at g8 simply picks up the pawn. Okay, 4-1. Finisher taking over again. Alright, same opening as last game. And last game was interesting. Tran won on time, but could have gone either way there. And in the end, I think Finisher probably had some mating sequence. So he's going for castle again. Maybe he won't play with the b5 idea. I think just d6, knight d4. But mastertan already deviating from last game with knight d5. You could yeah, he's playing d6 to cover e5, but you could trade here and move the knight to d4 and sacrifice this pawn, play bishop f6, something like that. But bishop at h4, now putting more pressure here. You could play bishop g5, you could trade once, you play knight at d5. The white plan is pretty, how do you call it? It's pretty well known. And the black needs to try to create some defense. If you take here, you can take on d1. Normally then knight f5 is strong, but queen at e2 is a mate in 1 threat, so taking is not the right way to go. Finisher might be thinking about knight takes f3. If takes some knight at g2, takes h4, takes here, takes here. Let's see. I think that's good for black, actually. But he's taking with the bishop. Okay, so he keeps the knight on d4. And we get this same line now. You have to take the queen, otherwise this is just not making any sense. You could take here first. You could also just let this happen. Bishop at e3 is coming anyway. And if bishop at e3, then you take. And if you defend f3, then you can play bishop at h6 or something. And just put a couple of bishops on the dark squares here. And white doesn't have any pawn blockers, so that's useful to keep in mind, that bishop checks are actually annoying because there's no pawn at e3 or c3. And you would like to play rook g1 and create something here, but this is just forking everything. So now if bishop h5 covers, yeah, I would play a bishop check here. And you can just pile up here. You can also try d5. Bishop at e2 also looks like a move. Couple of moves to choose from. The only thing he should not do is let his time tick below 20 seconds, basically. And he's trying his best to, oh, there we go, to make it exciting for the neutral viewer or for the mastertan fans. But he found bishop g5, knight g2, putting too much pressure here. I think you can take, and play some rook at g2 to keep the king boxed in here. Maybe knight at g2 is also good, but there we go, rook at g2. Because now you have a lot of mating ideas. Pawn at f4, knight at c2, knight at d5, knight at f5. So you have to block the file, I guess. But then pawn at f4 comes, and the king has to go to d2, and then you can take this blocking piece on f2 for free. And if you block with the bishop, that's even mates coming. Okay, so he blocks on e2. Just taking with the knight, still made in one thread with bishop at f4. Just keeping the rook here, no shenanigans with knight at h6 or with knight at f6. Even if it isn't winning. Finisher not allowing any counterplay. Just knight f4 and you can take this. Pawn d3 also fine. He's keeping it safe. He just only needs to worry about his time. Should be alright still, but yeah, cracks are coming here in the position. He's not even taking this. Queen at g8 normally is that smothered mate idea, but you defend with the knight. But yeah, what is this? What is going on? mastertan is now winning this, I feel. Yeah, just take the pawn, run the king to a3. Wow, that's a surprising loss. Probably more. Probably he just got lost in all the good options and got scared or something. I don't know what happened there. Okay, same line. E5 on the 7th move. Finisher again going for this. Pawn at f5. Knight at h5. Yeah, 2 flags, but this one was more a logical flag, I would say. He had no chances left in that game. So queen h4 here. I don't think there's any other move. But maybe mastertan will switch it up. But queen h4. Bishop f6 is also a possibility, I guess. And then if knight takes, queen takes, some safety. But okay, after a small time he just went for this. And last game we saw d5 by the finisher, which was perfectly fine, I think. But I'm also interested. Was also interested in knight b5. Okay, now he's developing with bishop e3. So finisher deviating from this previous game, which he won. But d5 was perfectly fine, but bishop e3 probably is okay as well. But it gives black time to castle, get safe. And now he's playing d5 anyway. The problem with the king also on e8 is that the queen is always in some danger when white gets a knight in hand. So therefore you would like to get your knight to d5 and then you can try to get access on f6. Giving up a pawn. Not seeing why. Maybe he just wants pawn at d4 and pressure here. Because pawn at d4 and pawn at e3 and stuff at f2. If you can force the king to h1, knight at g3 is mate, of course. So don't think too lightly about that. So he's just covering. And then bishop on d5, also looking at the king's position. But I think pawn at d4 some stage is gonna come. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now you gotta watch out for this and this. So what do you play? Knight at e3, okay. Probably only move to continue this initiative. There's also there's this bishop f2 and takes threats, but there's also the idea of getting a check here with the king when the king is on f2, and then you can trade queen. So bishop at g3 looks like a good defensive idea. So defend the, I think knight at e2 defense sort of correctly. Yeah, because bishop here, there's also the knight at c3, and then you can take the bishop, take the knight, rook b1. G2 is sufficiently covered, so Finisher's king looks safe, but mastertan creative guy. Going for knight at f2. And again, you gotta watch out for some ideas with g3 at the right moment, where you just sack everything, get the king out in the open. But so far there are a lot of pieces still defending. So knight at f2. Either way, the rook sacrifice is possible. But now he also gave Finisher the option of going queen here. Or here, or wherever, but he's just taking. Pawn to g3, what is the idea? Pawn g3 takes, knight takes g3. Okay, bishop at g3. Bishop at h4, I don't like it. He wants rook e8, but okay, now you can just block on e5. Pawn at d7 will be annoying very quickly. mastertan running a bit low on time. Let's see. He wants to get rid of the light square defenders and then switch it up with f3 and h3. But I would just take this, go knight at d7 and get counterplay with pawn at d6. Pawn at f6. Pawn at f6 is now perfectly fine, because knight at d7 is such a huge threat. Take, just doesn't help. Yeah, now he's just losing. Bishop at f6, wins the queen. Yeah, he's resigning. Okay, finisher, 5-2. Let's see if we get the same line. Probably yes. Bishop b5 again. Okay, now both just castling. And h3. So I was thinking maybe just go knight d4 here. And knight e2 and then c5 or something. Yeah, okay, now he's picking up the bishop, that's the idea. Just keep the bishop out of play. Yeah, it's get Gorofox to win the match, and that's if he gets a half a point, he wins the match. That's true, but it's not the match winning. It's not as important as the game points. Just the game points count towards the total score. So the winning a match is just good for morale, I'd say. If you want to compete, you need to win matches with a2 or higher, because there's already a 10-0 by Yasugi and an 8-2 by Penguin. Yasugi won 8-2 and 10-0, so you can win all your matches 6-4. You can even beat, for example, in this example, Yasugi 6-4. But if he wins a couple of matches 8-2, it doesn't really matter. But of course it's nice to say I beat mastertan, I beat this one, and therefore he only needs half a point indeed. But for the entire tournament, it's about game points. And Finisher beat Juan at 6-4 last game, last match, and that's a fine result. Okay, so not waiting for bishop g5, but playing knight at f4 immediately. And if knight at h5, he just goes queen h6 to cover. But here, I don't know. What do you do with whites? Take the bishop. Bishop at g5 and then knight takes f4 and bishop at g5 might be a plan. But Finisher probably takes this one. Let's see, rook here, knight here, queen takes, bishop at g5, and the queen looks... Okay, the queen is not trapped, but it's close. And bishop at g5, the queen has to go to f5, and you can play pawn at h6, and you get some chances around the king, whilst your own king is still perfectly fine. He plays bishop at d2 even. Okay. Nice one. Okay, but maybe he will play pawn at g5 first, and then take the knights. Black has a couple of pieces in hand, so it's not like black is losing immediately. White is just regaining his piece if he takes it. But he is also, if queen g6, knight h4 is good, so the queen first back to d8, but now the piece is no longer free. But mastertan just keeping the attack alive, and it's doesn't look like much, but there's just black needs to place defenders around his king. Pawn at h6 seems logical. Take the knight is also an option still. But pawn at h6 and keeping the bishop c3 as an option. Bishop c3 now. Okay, takes first, but I'm just gonna leave it here because he needs to play it. Okay, there we go. Bishop c3. But how to continue now? You need more pieces. Knight e5 maybe. Or just queen e2. You would like to trade the rook or get the queen here and just get pieces. Your king is still fine, I'd say. Now you can try knight e5. Trading no good, I feel. Taking here And then bishop e5 gets a lot of trades if you want. But Finisher defending accurately, I feel. He gets pawn at e3 or bishop at g3 in. White losing momentum, and you can't go for bishop e5 and trade a punch, because then you're just made it with bishop takes f2. And also pawn at e7 tried to promote, is not working, I think. Bishop takes f2, just really strong. Ooh, queen f6, bishop at g8. That's losing, I feel. Okay, pawn at h6, bishop at g8 also close, but queen is still alive. You got a block you cannot take, I think. I guess you can take, maybe. Take with the pawn, now your queen is hanging, and now? What is the move? This is the wrong move, h takes g7 for sure. Now it's just over. Knight at g3, queen at g1 ideas. Yeah, this is just... he's going could finish nice with rook at g1 and knights on the back rank. But don't lose on time, the finisher. Whew. There we go, just in time. Okay, he's found the mate. Or he will find it now. Will there be 1-0 championship next year or 3+2? I don't know. It's about... I think 3+2 has been a nice time control. Enough options for commentators to say something and enough time to think, but not that much. So it's still nice to follow. A match takes about 1.5 hours tops. So there's something to say for 3+2. But it's about somebody organizing it decides basically. And this year Jan Lee put up some prize money, or he's trying to get it from the community, of course, but he is standing as a sort of guarantee if there aren't any donations, which is of course very generous of him. But I think 3+2 is a nice time control. We get nice exciting games. But maybe a 1-0 will again, or maybe next to each other. But I feel that the quality of games and for also the popularity of the game, it's better to have a little bit slower time controls so that newer players can try to understand or watch a commentary and try to understand what is happening. Yeah, so mastertan losing last game, but he should have won there in the end, I feel. He missed something. And finisher is now 6-2 up. And he still would be a strong contender if he manages to get an 8-2 in here. With a quick queen g4, forcing the king to f8. Something like this. I think mastertan wants knight f5 anyway, and then put the bishop on g5. Queen takes h6 would be nice. That's probably even not that bad. If you take with the rook, bishop takes h6, and rook at h8 is coming. If you take with the pawn, just knight at f4, and what are you gonna do? If you put the queen on the board, queen f5, bishop d3 is... It's an idea in the position. Maybe it's not best, but it looks funny. In not so serious games, I would have played it probably. And the moment's gone. Queen sacrifice on f5 probably not so good. Now you gotta think about, as white, you gotta think about tricks here. Creating a lot of flow of pieces, and then suddenly all the pieces are landing around your king. Knight takes c5 takes, bishop b5, and then bishop at g5 something. Probably just knight takes c5 is fine, since you have knight at g6, but you need to calculate this. So just rook e1, just a safe move. Yeah, just bishop d2, I think. It's looking again at queen takes f5, e6. Knight at g6 is of course the idea. Black just wants to trade and play knight at e4. And try to get a grip on the center. There are now some ideas of sacking the queen and play knight at h3 and knight at f3, but therefore you have to take this one first. But that could be an option to play. Just getting safe first. Okay, developing. Don't know if I like bishop e3, but I guess d4 was a bit weak. Okay, now you gotta watch out for the bishop here. You don't have any nice blocking piece. Okay, he trades the bishop, so now bishop a3, bishop e7. But this diagonal is really weak. I think the finisher will play something for here. Okay, now bishop e7. Okay, bishop h4. Now it's no longer a possibility, and now he will probably spot this check. Because you have queen takes f5, knight e7 ideas when needed. Knight e4 probably on his mind. Queen takes g5, knight e4. Now rook f1 is allowing it. Okay, now it's too late. What is going on? This is crazy stuff. Time trouble. Queen takes f5 again, coming to mind. Promote to knight. Don't lose on time. Yeah, mastertan taking over now. You just feel it happening. Probably queen takes f6 is still very good. Knight at h3. Play knight at h3, rook at g2. That's just winning. Okay, this is probably still okay. But it's easy for me to just say, okay, play this. This is winning. I've been in this situation. You tell yourself it's not about anything, but still you feel some nerves playing these matches. A lot of people watching. Knight at h3 coming soon. Oh, he wants knight at e2. Just block with the pawn, yeah. Take the queen. But Finisher has something here, I feel. Okay, now, not so sure. Knight f4 is just winning. This is winning as well. Yeah, bishop takes e4 was winning. There probably is a puzzle every 2 moves where there is a forced mate in this match. In this last game. Okay, 6-3. So last one. But that one just everywhere, and players missing mates all around. Okay. Finally, mastertan switching to d4. You can play pawn at d5, you can try pawn at d3, but pawn at d3 probably just queen a4 is okay. So pawn at d5, defending the pawn. And now black is just a pawn up and has a nice bind on the light squares here. And just normal developments. And then this looks actually a bit silly, this pawn. So Finisher should be able to take this. Looking at the opening. But we saw that the opening is not a guarantee of winning. And this actually looks nice. Last game, why not g4? Usually in these types of structures, even without a c pawn, you want to play f6, kick the knight, and in some stages give your king some escape. Okay, so knight g5, trying to get rid of this. And f6 is now met by knight takes e6. And normally there are some ideas of bishop takes g2, but knight at h4 now is not possible. But Finisher just tries to take control. And this is a nice Zwischenzug, because there is no diagonal piece to block, and blocking with g3 would be fatal to knight at h3. Knight at f6 might be a move. It's probably not good, but it takes, and yeah, take with the queen. Okay, you could even take with the pawn there. I felt not allow this bishop g5, queen g6, but yeah, there's nothing here. But you have to be a bit more careful here. For a knight drop on e7 and a pawn on h5. But yeah, just knight at f5. To start, knight at f5 and knight at h4 next. Take g2. Queen h3, bishop takes g2 looks really good. It's not no knight at e7 is not a problem if the queen in hands that you gain from this queen sacrifice is mating for you. Hey, nice Reef Monsters. What are you streaming? No, you have to. Sometimes it doesn't show either with me that you're streaming in League Chess tournaments. I think I saw someone say it's when it's really busy on League Chess, it's not showing that one. And also you could try, if you're here somewhere, let's see, watch and go to streamers. There are some tips there. So maybe check that one out. Or go to League Chess Discord and ask your question there. Probably someone there has the answer. Okay, so mastertan coming with g4. But now it's bishop at g2. Now it's losing, I feel. What are you gonna do? Queen h3, knight at h3. So the queen on h3 is basically trapped. Also takes, knight at h4. But it's not working because the queen is also looking at c2, so the queen is just gonna help mate there. Queen at g2, king here. Probably, yeah, knight at f3, probably. Or just go queen c2 as suggested by... yeah, nice, he plays it. Fumitaks with the prediction. Just claiming superiority here. You don't have any defense. Knight at e3 wins in the end. Well done by the finisher. I even felt he had more chances to get the score even higher, but on the other hand, mastertan also missed a couple of mates, especially in the later games. So 7-3 in the end seems to be reflecting the match. Okay, that means that finisher wins his second game. and is now has now 13 game points. I'll post a link to the standings and all other useful links in the chat. I don't have the link Riff Monsters. I'm not on the Lead Chess Discord, but you can just Google it, I guess, or find it on Lead Chess forum. Just go here, forum, and find it there. Shouldn't be too hard. I have to go, so I'm gonna leave it here. Thanks very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you soon with another stream, probably some tournament next week. I'll try to pick up streaming some more. Hope you have a good day wherever you are. See you next time.